Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Life as a Military Wife and an Aspiring Psychologist. I am a military wife and I am an aspiring psychologist. So if you're seeing this face for the first time, welcome to my channel. I do hope that you find something that resonates with you and you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload. And if you are coming across my channel for the first time and you're asking yourself, what is this about? Well, this is where I actually sit down and I document my journey as a military wife and an aspiring psychologist in South Africa. So yes, I do hope you enjoyed this video. And to my returning subscribers, welcome back you guys. Thank you for joining me once again. Please don't forget to interact on the comments section down below, and then I will interact with you guys there. Tell me what you thought about this video. Tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me where you are on the journey, because that is what we are going to talk about. So before wasting any more time, let's get right into this video. So if you are someone who is considering a career in psychology, this video is for you. If you know someone who is considering a career in psychology in South Africa, please show them this video. If you know someone, like maybe you guys have younger siblings who are still trying to figure out what to do with their careers, please do show them this video. It's very, very important, right? So I'm going to be reflecting on my journey with the application process into Masters in Clinical Psychology, because that is the specialty, that is the field that I'm applying into. However, I want to start from the basics, right? So becoming a psychologist in South Africa, not a clinical psychologist, but a psychologist in general in South Africa, we have to study from undergraduate, honors, and then masters, and then everything else that will follow after masters, depending on the specialty that one would have chosen, right? So we don't become a psychologist with an undergraduate degree. We don't become a psychologist with an honors. We need to study until master's level for us to become psychologists. I am not in my master's yet, but I am on the journey to getting into masters, and this is very important to put it out there, because I think people who are already familiar with the process will understand why I say this. I will elaborate, but I don't want to lose my train of thought, right? I would elaborate right now, but I don't want to lose my train of thought. So getting into masters on its own is a very tricky part of becoming a psychologist in South Africa, because of universities say it's lack of resources. There is very little resources to train master's students, masters in psychology students in South Africa, right? However, I believe there are quite a number of reasons that I don't want to get into, but the biggest one is the lack of resources. So what happens is that each and every university that offers masters in psychology take a very small portion of psychology students who started undergraduate together. So there is a huge number that starts undergraduate, then the number reduces a little bit into honors, and then it reduces a lot into masters, right? And that is why the process is very stressful and challenging and draining. It's really a draining process, to say the least. So the first part of the application, the part that I find has a lot of work, is the fact that you need to apply to the university itself. So the general application that everyone applies. Please excuse the dog. Oh my god, I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but it's so loud I could hear it. Moving right along, you need to apply the general application, né? So I'm talking now about the paper application itself. You need to apply the general application into the university like everyone else, right? And then you have to complete the department application, which goes to the Department of Psychology to that specific university. So what makes it a lot of work is the fact that because our chances of getting into psychology are very slim because of how competitive it is, you have to apply to a lot of universities. I believe that should be common knowledge or common thoughts and common beliefs, because we don't really get to choose which university we want to study at because of how the process is set up and the system is set up. So you literally have to apply to as many universities as you can, and that is what makes it feel like it's a lot of work. And it is actually a lot of work. It's not just a feeling, it is a lot of work to complete that university application and then complete the department application. The department application is very long. And this reminds me of something that I spoke about on TikTok, about how we have this sense of dependency on people who have actually gotten into masters. Because I sent a text to someone I knew on YouTube who was sharing her journey into her psychology journey basically, and I grew very fond of her because I was very appreciative of what she was doing. Because what we do get in this field, or in the internet, the information that is available, I have found that it actually comes from psychologists themselves. So you find people sharing information when they have already gotten into the field, whereas I think I would appreciate someone taking me through the process with them. I feel like I learned more from the one who was sharing as she went than the one who actually shared when they were already there. And even though they are there who are sharing when they're already in the process, when they have already gotten into masters, the information is very limited, right? But I was still talking about this lady that I have watched, and then she got into masters, and then I realized that she did, and then I reached out. And the reaching out is the part where now I talk about the dependency, because I reached out, I'm like, hi, I saw you got into masters, can we please just have a conversation, wara wara. And I'm not sure, and please don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to even put this in a negative light. However, she responded, and I appreciated that, considering how busy these people get. She responded and she said to me, my advice is that apply everywhere. She said apply everywhere, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. The process of the paper application is a lot, because you have to apply to as many universities as you can, right? The department application now is where you write about yourself, is where you go deep into the kind of a person that you are. So the questions that are asked there have to reflect the kind of a person that you are, have to give an idea of the kind of a person that you are. So that is a lot, because all the applications are different. So obviously the information that you have to provide has to be different, as much as it's similar, because you're going to probably write about the same experiences. You have to write them in, oh my god, please excuse the dog, please just bear with me. You have to phrase your answers to suit the question, because they don't ask the same way. As much as your story is the same, they don't approach it the same way. So having to apply those changes is a lot. So the process, the paper process, is a lot of work. It is draining, but it is doable. And that is why I'm actually reflecting on this, to bring out that positivity, to say it is hard, and I know that it is very hard, and there is so much fear that surrounds this whole process. However, it is doable. It is doable. The fact that we have psychologists in South Africa means that there were people that were able to actually get it done. So that means we can also get it done, right? Another thing that I wanted to touch on, which is a separate thought, right, is the fact that I know people talk about how you shouldn't share something that has not come to pass. However, I have a different perspective, right? I feel that my purpose, which is this, I believe this is my purpose, to sit down and share information and inspire and educate where I can. I feel that my purpose is way bigger than having to keep things a secret and protect them, because I strongly believe that the God that I serve, who is the one who puts the dream inside of me, is the same God who is going to make it come to pass, right? And that is why whether I talk about it or not does not have impact on whether it comes true or not. And also because talking about it is my purpose. I believe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I don't think God will put me in a position where I have to sabotage myself. So I don't subscribe to that line of thinking, to that line of thought at all. I do not subscribe to it. So that is why we are here. I do believe that this video is going to make an impact on someone's life, and that is where purpose comes in, because if that happens, when that happens, my job is done. Even if it's one person who finds inspiration, who finds clarification, who finds, maybe I calm them down, I put their heart at ease with this journey. My job is done. My job is done, and that is what I am about, right? So moving right along, the conclusion is that the paper application is a lot of work. It will drain you, it will frustrate you. Having to write one thing over and over again, but in different ways, will get to you. Some people have even spoken about how triggered they are when they are doing these applications, because you really have to reflect, you really have to sit with your story, you really have to find a way to convey the message in the right way based on the advices and the guidance that we have found online and from our mentors. That process on its own is very draining. It's very draining, I don't want to lie to you. And that for me is what says we are not applying because we have everything in control, but we have our different reasons why we're applying. And for me is that I feel like I am very self-aware to know that right now I am drained, to know that right now I am ready, to know that right now I am not ready to apply for masters because I don't want it interfering with my honor studies, which is another topic for another day. I'll tell you guys why I didn't apply for masters during honors year, right? So moving right along, another aspect of the applications that makes the applications a bit tough is that there is an application fee. Not an application fee per se, because certain universities even have the application fee separately, as separate from the administration fee. Yes, they call it an administration fee to process the psychology, the master's application. Remember, I said you apply to the university, then you apply to the Department of Psychology. So the Department of Psychology also requires an admin fee, right? Then there is the application fee. So certain universities you pay twice, certain universities just need the administration fee, which the lowest I have seen was 150. The lowest I have paid has been 150, and then the most that I have paid or I'm required to pay is 420. So depending on the number of universities you are going to apply to, that money can be a lot. So the application process can also be very strenuous financially, and that is why we need to plan. You need to plan from as early as the previous year or as early as January, as this application is open in April. So you need to plan and budget that money because it's there and it's needed and it's necessary, right? And then the other part of it, still on the paper application basically, because even the money goes into the paper application. The referees, you need to have references. You need to have references for these applications. So this is where now people will have to come in to reference your character, to reference your work ethic, depending on what you have done in your life. I'm not even going to speak about, to get into the nitty-gritty of volunteering and stuff. I don't have much information when it comes to that, but I do know one thing for sure is that you're going to need people to testify, people to speak on your behalf when you're writing those applications. So building those relationships is very important, and I've realized it now when I was doing the applications. I realized how important maintaining them, even those relationships that you're building as you are growing into, as you are moving on with your journey into the master's applications. So yeah, I hope I've summed it up very well. I hope the paper application, I didn't mention however that the part where I said they'll be asking you personal questions is also where they need your autobiography. You need to write an autobiography of yourself, which will give an idea of the kind of person that you are, because that is the sense that I get from the application. I feel that they need to get an idea of the kind of a person that you are, so that they have information, like enough information to decide whether to apply to invite you for selections or not. So there is that part where you're going to have to reflect on your story. The lowest number of words required that I have seen has been 500 words, like to give an account of your most significant life experiences and reflect on where you are now, where you have been, has been 500. The most that I have seen has been 3 pages. There is a university that requires you to write a 3-page autobiography, right? So I think that's it on the paper application. That is it, right? However, there is now the emotional side of the application. Guys, the fear, the intimidation, the discouragement is a lot. It is a lot. I don't want to lie to you. Oh God, it's a lot. And for me, when I look at it, I feel that it's because the little information that is out there is testament to how difficult getting into masters is, because like I said, most people will come when they have gotten into the masters, which I appreciate so much. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate them sharing. However, in them sharing that they have gotten into masters and this is the process, when they talk about how many years it took them to finally get into masters, that's when you realize how hard and how difficult and how challenging it is to get into masters, right? And I feel that most of us, because we are not in the masters program yet, what we get out of that is fear, because that makes the reality of you not getting in at your first try, very real. Like you feel it and you see it, and you get to actually acknowledge it, that yes, even though it is my first try, there is a very high possibility that I don't get in. And in that comes so much fear. Some people have even said because of that they've decided not to apply. Some people have said that fear is so strong that they don't even want to attempt. You understand? But what I am trying to do with this video is to say, we acknowledge how competitive it is, and we acknowledge that many of us might not get in on our first try. However, we do acknowledge also that we will get in. We do acknowledge that it is possible, and also it is possible to actually get in on your first try. I know people who actually even got so many invites from their first applications, right? So as scary as it is also possible. And I feel that I have decided to focus on the possible part of it and not feed into the fear. And there is so much that I can actually do to say, I am scared of this journey, I'm not doing this. There is so much to feed into that, to feed into the fear. However, I have made the decision to say, I want this. And because I want it, I'm going to try and focus on the positives and focus on the being possible part of it, because it is possible. As hard as it is possible. And I want to talk to you today to say, it's possible. In that fear, you are not alone. You are not the only one that's feeling it. But don't let it stop you from actually trying, because that is actually the reality of the process. Everyone has to feel that fear. And I don't think us feeling it in solitude and us hiding it is doing us any justice. The reality of the process is that it is very scary. However, the other reality is that it is actually even possible to get into masters. So be kind to yourself, be very kind, but also don't let the fear stop you. You might just be what the university wants. that year. You might just be it. Your story might just be that, what they want to hear. So don't let the fear scare you. We are all going through it. Me deciding to share this journey doesn't mean I'm not scared, but I am also, what I'm doing is that I'm not focusing on it. I'm focusing on the fact that it is possible to become a psychologist in South Africa, right? So yes, I think that sums it up. Then there is a part where, this is what I was talking about on TikTok. So if you follow me on TikTok, you probably have seen this, where you develop this dependency because you are so scared, right? You want to reach out to everyone who is a psychologist and ask for help. And how I brought that topic up is that I sat down and I looked at it and I said, Nshabo, I know you are scared. And I know you will feel more confident when you have a lot of people supporting you. However, it is also very important for you that to have confidence in yourself. Even though you are scared, you still need to have confidence in yourself, and not only get the confidence because you are being supported, but also be able to be confident even when you're standing on your own. And I just wanted to touch on this, that if you haven't watched the video on TikTok, it's very important, guys. It's very important for us to feel confident even within the fear, because you can't take away the fear, because the process is the way that it is. However, you need to focus on the positives, on the fact that it's possible, and also have confidence within yourself to be able to make this dream a reality for yourself. Because what I looked at is that, Nshabo, you have people that are supporting you. You have psychologists that are rooting for you. You have people that are rooting for you. However, to the selection week, you are going to be alone. You are going to be the one who is doing those activities. You're going to be the one who's going to attend the panel interviews. And that is when that self-confidence comes in. And that is when it becomes very vital for one to be very secure and confident within themselves. So I need you guys to work on that. I need us to work on that. As much as we are working on our applications, as much as we are paying for mentorship, I also need us to work on our confidence. It's very important. We are going to be professionals alone, and I did say, as much as there is supervision that one is going to receive as a professional, you still need to have that confidence within yourself to be able to say, I am able to do this job. I am able to be a mental health practitioner. I am able to be a clinical psychologist on my own. I am able to be a counseling psychologist. I am able to show up as a very, very culturally sensitive psychologist. Do you understand what I'm saying? So please cultivate that confidence, work on that confidence. Yes, get your support from wherever you are getting it from, get your applications done, but work on that confidence. Work on the confidence in your story. Have so much confidence in your story. Have so much confidence in your self-awareness. Have so much confidence in yourself, basically. Right? And the last part that I wanted to reflect on is the sitting with your story when you are writing it. This is the part where some people find very triggering, then they stop because they have to reflect on what they've been through and where they are. That for me was a very, very beautiful moment. And as much as I don't want to lie and say it was happy, it was a walk in the park, it was not, because sitting with our stories sometimes is not what you want to do, especially when you look at the space that you are in. Some memories, you don't want to bring them up, and sometimes it's not even because you haven't dealt with them, but it's because when you actually do bring them up, they make you feel very sad because you went through all of that. And I feel like that is what it is for me. When I think of where I come from, I feel so sad, like not the sad that I'm crying because it's triggering me. Most of my memories don't trigger me anymore. However, it's not something that I want to actively think about every day because it makes me so sad. When I look at the 8-year-old that went through the things that I went through, I'm like, oh man, that is so sad. So those are memories that I put away. However, when you're writing your autobiography and you have to sit with it over and over and over again, it can become such a daunting process. It can become such an unpleasant space for certain people. So, but for me, looking back, I've realized that it actually makes me more grateful to God for what he has done in my life and for where I find myself today. When I look back and I realize that I went through all of that, it has put me in a very grateful place. And I think I love that. And this is the place where I come down and I say, all that was for this, because now all that makes so much sense. I feel like had I not gone through all of that, then this wouldn't make sense, right? So I don't look back and now feel sorry for myself, because now for the first time it feels like that past is actually coming together with the future, which is now. And it makes so much sense why I had to go through the things that I have went through. And that for me is a place of gratitude. That for me is a very humbling place to realize that he's been an intentional God even from the beginning. He's been an intentional God. He knew what he was doing. So there is also so much healing that comes with that, because you realize that that suffering was not for nothing. God always knew what he was doing. It was not a punishment. You didn't have bad luck. God knew what he was doing. And in that, when you sit in that and you realize how much of an intentional God he is, it's such a healing moment. It's such a grateful moment for me. It's such a beautiful moment, really, you know. So those autobiographies, as triggering as they are, I need you to try and take a different approach and try and gain new perspectives around them, and try and also work on yourself, because you might find that the reason why those are triggering you is because maybe there is still some healing that needs to be done. So with all that said, I hope this was a beautiful reflection. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you watched until this far. I was watching a video of someone I went to school with, and she said at the end that if you watched until this point, please leave a heart. So I'm also saying it to you guys so that I can see how many people actually listened or watched until the end. So if you did get to this part, please leave a heart for me. I will appreciate that so much. Let me wrap it up here. This was a very beautiful reflection. This video actually even made me so happy. I hope it made you happy too. I hope it inspired you. I hope you learned something. And until the next video, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to switch on your notification bell so that we can meet here again. Until then, you guys, I love you. Keep well and take care of yourselves. Mwah.